Hey, why is the screen so dark?
Because I dig too deep into K-pop. Welcome to YouTube's favorite K-pop show, DK News.
My name is Danny Kim.
David Kim.
We have lots and lots and lots of chaos, drama, and terror for you today in the world of K-pop. This week was a very busy week.
Yes, it was.
So first off, we have like E'Dawn and Hyuna signing with Psy's label, and then we have Jen, Kai breaking up. Thank you, Dispatch. Thank you, everybody. And then we have some more important news.
Such as Jay Park receiving a lot of criticism because he said something about dreadlocks.
Yes.
And also Seungri's burning sun burning down into ashes.
And Shannon Williams drops some hot ass tea on MBK, her label. Before we go on, we have something that's even more important. We have to pay tribute to an important figure.
할머니.
Yes, we call her Kim Bok-dong 할머니. It means grandma.
Yes.
Basically, she was an activist for sexual slavery victims of the Japanese
comfort woman
imperial rule.
Right.
The Japanese army basically took Korean women and made them sex slaves. Kim Bok-dong 할머니 was one of them, and she actually came out, to the UN to speak up about this issue and to speak for the victims. And so she was a very important figure for this kind of movement, pitching a voice to the world about this issue.
She has spoken out for her whole life about this issue to get an apology from Japan, which Japan didn't officially give yet. She recently passed away, so...
Yes, that was last week. Another sad thing is that a lot of these victims, they are aging.
So basically Japan's just waiting for them to die out, and they're not gonna apologize.
But I think the best thing we can do is raise awareness about this. So we just wanted to pay tribute to all of you guys. Just Google it. Japanese colonial rule, sexual slavery, and you will find loads of history information about our sad past.
And if you want to know more about this issue, there's a wonderful video made by Asian Boss. They actually interviewed her when she was alive, so go check that video out.
So Shannon, if you guys don't know who Shannon is, she's a solo female singer that's like half British, half Korean. She also appeared in K-Pop Star season 6 or something. And apparently she hasn't been very active. Basically, she's in what is called a K-pop dungeon. The label won't let you release songs.
It means you're doing nothing. You're not getting any light.
You're just stuck there. You're just stuck there. You're not making anything, not getting music.
Not getting any support.
So she was very under the radar. I think I saw her when she was debuting, and then she kind of disappeared.
I've never heard of her ever since her debut.
Well, she recently dropped some tea on her Instagram story because some fans asked her, are there any plans of leaving Korea? And she said, unfortunately, I actually do.
I love Korea, but I feel like I want to be able to be more creative and write songs that I can really connect to. No, I am not having a comeback. I am leaving my company very, very soon.
Now, that was just the start of the tea. The next question is living in the dungeon scary? She said something really sad. Girl, you get used to it until you don't get paid at all.
And they use your voice and tell you it's a guide for another groove song without your permission, and don't credit you for writing their English lyrics. And give the work that came in specifically for you to another artist. And never let you go overseas just because. And basically force you to go out on shows that you don't want to go on, just so that another group from your label can get a promo or a deal.
That's when all hell breaks loose. And last Instagram story was...
I know, I'm sorry. You can blame my company for that matter regarding why she's not having a comeback in Korea. I promise to come out with something soon.
Sounds like she was being mistreated, which is not a new thing in K-pop. I think the worst part is that her creative efforts for writing English lyrics were not credited at all.
Of course, and her singings and songs being utilized into guide songs, that would be very disrespectful and very...
That one I disagree with.
Why?
Because that's very common practice, actually.
No, but she didn't even know about it. So she put this out thinking that it was her song and she was being creative, but actually it was a guide for another artist. We have a saying, 죽 써서 개주다. She just made this whole thing out of ambition, and then you give it to another person. So that's very disrespectful, and that's very disappointing to yourself.
Actually, since this is such a common practice, I dug up a few artists who have been in the K-pop dungeon. I think YG is a very big culprit of this K-pop dungeon. CL, last official release. Guess.
2015 or something?
16.
Oh, okay.
Lifted.
Right,
Song.
that's when we started.
Yeah, that's when we started Reaction. And that was August 19th, 2016. Lee Hai is also in the dungeon.
Yeah.
She is a newly signed artist compared to CL. And she's still being treated like shit.
You know what? This is totally just in my head, but I get this feeling that, you know, the artists they sign from audition shows, they don't really want to sign them in the first place, but they just do it out of like, I'm on the show, I gotta show my authority, so like I'm just gonna pick someone who's like to my favor or my preference, and then they just pick someone, and then after a while they just realize like, oh, she's not my style, like I'm not gonna support her.
But Angmil received some pretty good promotion, I think.
Right, they did, but not as much as the idols.
Maybe they have a legal obligation to sign one of the members.
Yeah,
That's the rules for the audition program.
I think they do.
And YG doesn't want to miss out on the audition program because they want to put their name out there.
Right.
But at the same time, they don't want to be signing the artist. So it's like just YG might be just using that TV show as a promo rather than
to their company. Right?
Rather than looking for new talent. To talk about dungeons, this person cannot be ignored. Jisoo. Jisoo is like
where is he?
The dungeon keeper of K-pop. Jisoo was a trainee for 14 years to debut. And the saddest part was that JYP kept talking about him during the shows. Like they would always make this joke where like, oh, Jisoo's gonna come soon, Jisoo's gonna come soon. And everybody would say like, oh, is Jisoo just a soul? I mean, I laughed at it at that time, but to think like you're Jisoo and you're watching that shit, like
that's harsh.
That's harsh. He's in the army dungeon now. I think Jisoo is the biggest, he's a dungeon keeper.
I think there should be improvements in the policies,
the
contracts of the K-pop
are
entertainment companies, because like if they're gonna keep them in a dungeon, they should at least give them some freedom to make their own creative music parts or
do other jobs.
Yeah, do other jobs or something. Like they can't just tie them up there because like you're a part of our company and do nothing, will not support you. That doesn't make sense. They need some flexible contract terms. Or
problem is during the remaining years of the contract, if you cancel the contract midpoint, for the remaining years you cannot do acting, you cannot do music or anything like regarding, you know, entertainment business. So they just block you off.
Oh yeah, I know about this too. It's the same in the model agency.
Yeah. Because they're in the company, they can't do other jobs, financially support them. So they're just wasting away their year. You know, some of the idols that we've interviewed, I could definitely get the vibe when they're very unmotivated because they're stuck in a contract and they know that they're kind of done. So it's a very difficult situation for them, and I do hope for policy changes.
Next up is actually an oopsie from Jay Park getting canceled and criticized a lot from the Black Twitter community especially, and from a lot of people, for cultural appropriation. And what basically happened was a new artist signed up to his label Higher Ground called Avatar Darko. I don't know a lot about him. Other than that, he is a white man and he had dreadlocks on his hair, stylized. A lot of people were really mad about this issue that a white man was stylizing himself into dreadlocks again, using it as fashion again. And then they went on to Jay Park because he's the director of the label.
CEO.
And then the issue got worse when Jay Park started replying to these comments.
I think that was the big oopsie.
Yes. So I'll read what he replied to you and fast forward. Okay.
Like every time I twist my hair into spikes with gel, y'all saying the same shit because y'all think it looks like dreads. To be honest, this is getting pretty ridiculous. I can't even style my hair. Yo, feeling somebody's music is personal opinion, but hating on somebody because of their hairstyle, I'm sorry, but that ain't it. Jay Park and Avatar Darko never disrespect the culture and always give back. That's like saying a non-Asian person shouldn't use Korean words and shouldn't listen to K-pop because they didn't go through all the suffering Korean people went through. If you don't know, look the shit up. It's 2019 and every culture, every ethnicity influences each other, and as long as we're not disrespecting each other, it's all love and nothing else.
And he mentioned the words like serka or oppa here.
Yeah, that was the big oopsie, I think.
And there were like hashtags trending, NJ Park. I mean, the whole dreadlocks situation has been prevalent in the K-pop scene and also in the Western pop society as well. It's always been an issue. I just brought a mostly upvoted comment on Jay Park's Instagram, and it says that
Black people get ridiculed and humiliated and looked down upon because of their hair. People don't get jobs, children get kicked out of school, people are forced to get their hair cut off, and we're told our hair is unprofessional, dirty, ghetto, ratchet. We face so many disgusting stereotypes.
And then white people who are not blacks choose to stylize their hair with dreadlocks and stuff, and blah blah blah. It goes on, and you get their logic, right?
Okay.
At the end, as the situation escalated and it became a huge mess, Jay Park just decided to go on Twitter and he officially apologized in a huge thread. He tweeted like 5 or 6, 7 tweets. And his basic logic was cultures should interchange and develop. Second, he has the most diversity in his label, so he knows best about this issue too. And also as an Asian male, he's one of the minorities too, so he is not insensitive about this issue. And lastly, he is not the real bad man here. There are real bad people out there, so you should all go to them and educate them instead of educating myself, who understands and is sensitive about this issue. And the situation kind of got,
it ended
after that. Okay, so what is your opinion about Jade Park's attitude and how he handled this situation?
So, I can never be in the shoes of a black person living in America. So I honestly don't understand the struggles that they have, and I can't really imagine being cut from your school because of your hair or being forced to cut your hair.
Right.
But at the same time, I also do kind of get Jay Park's logic in terms of cultures are meant to mix. There is no real ownership of culture. I that's what I think. Throughout human history, civilizations have traded and influenced each other, and that's how cultures become more rich and more fun. I think what Jay Park's trying to say is that, hey, I took inspiration from you guys because I appreciate you and I really enjoy your culture. So don't take it as a hateful thing.
Yeah, but one funny part,
which I agree with,
as you're saying right now, actually the shit technically has to go to Avatar Darko, which did the actual hair, but Jay Park is just like the CEO of the label.
But
it's kind of funny.
The thing he said.
Right, the thing he said was
a little inappropriate because comparing black people being discriminated against because of their hair with
oppa,
taking selkas or using the word
serkas.
oppa, nobody's gonna discriminate you if you take a selka.
The word serka.
If Jay Park was to give a proper example, it would have to be something that we used would be oppressed, but if somebody else uses, they'd be praised.
It's not a direct analogy.
Yeah,
the analogy was
analogy.
Quite off. So I think that part kind of blew up. I mean, Jay Park had no malicious intentions in posting these comments, and I think what he could have done better was calm down a little bit, because he was getting a lot of shit, and I've been into those situations as well, and it gets really stressful. You have a tendency to just put out whatever you're thinking in your head. By his tone, way of writing, I think he just wrote it very spontaneously.
Yeah. I understand those situations.
Yeah, it was very improvised. If he just organized his thoughts and did a little bit of research and then just put it out, I think it would have been fine, because everyone knows his backgrounds, that he supports diversity and other cultures, and
he is American.
Yeah. So if he just took that extra step, I think everything would have been fine. So the big oopsie here was the part about selka and oppa.
I think that's the biggest
thing. Yeah. So right on to the debate. I've prepared a debate. It's a very controversial subject, which is
we're gonna get canceled.
Why do you think we're
so
gonna
scared?
Let's be open, everybody, and the debate question is: dreadlocks okay or not?
Oh my god.
Of course,
you're setting me up, man.
On black people. Why am I setting you up? Okay, so the question is: dreadlocks okay or not on non-black people?
Okay, yeah.
So
1, 2, 3, yeah.
I'll say X.
You're setting me up.
No, I'm not.
I know I've seen so many threads, so much information regarding why dreadlocks are a very important and crucial part of African American and just African culture. It has its deep origins in Africa. And I know it's a very important thing for you guys. I have no intentions to degrade your culture, but I do think culture prospers when people take cues and ideas from different cultures. If I like part of this culture and I get influenced by it and I bring it into my culture, I see it as a good thing. If, for example, say a European fashion designer took cues from hanbok and then implemented it to Western clothing, I would be very flattered. That doesn't mean you have to be very flattered if people wear dreadlocks, but I do think culture prospers, develops into something new when people, mix and match different cultures, because there's really nothing is original. We're all influenced by our surroundings. There is no real one true origin of a certain thing, really, if you think about it, because they're all influences of surrounding environments. At the end of it all, we're all one human race. We're developing a human culture here. I think it will be foolish to say, oh, you can't do this unless you know its origins or unless you're the right race to be doing this. Because at the end, I think that's segregating it even more. I don't think that's the right way to go. However, at the same time, I do understand the frustrations of Black Americans who have been discriminated based on their hair. However, I don't think bashing on the person with the dreadlocks is the right way to go. Rather, changing it up, trying to voice a voice through like bigger, government or whatever system. Project your voice to the system, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Don't make it, a problem of that person wearing this hair. I think we should all focus on like what's in the bigger picture here.
I'm not gonna debate with him because like this will go on forever.
Yeah.
I'll go on to this dreadlock situation has been going on forever in the K-pop scene and everywhere. I'm not a smart person and I don't want to be smart. So my answer is gonna be very simple. There's been so many words and debates about this. This has been a whole vicious cycle. So I just wanted to put out something very simple. I'm not going into like facts or cultural history or heritage or anything. I'm just saying in a general perspective, don't spread more negativity and hatred. For me, it's all about happiness and hatred and negativity in the whole world. And if you just like look at a quantitative approach, by doing this, are you creating more negativity or hatred among people in the society? If it's like a civil strategy or like a policy in a company or something like that, this logic doesn't work. But here I'm talking about just hairstyle. Expressing yourself is one thing. At the end, it's just one part of your greed. If it's because of your greed that you're hurting people and people are saying that they've been oppressed through racism for years and centuries, just try to lend an ear and like yield one step back from what you call fashion and expressing yourself, because at the end you're not gonna get hurt like them, mistreated like them by doing your hair. So just take one step back. I think that's the fundamental thing that everyone in the world should do. Like trying to understand each other, trying to yield and trying to take one step back for each other. And that makes a world a better place. Like if everyone just becomes selfish, I want to do this because this is so fashionable, this is so cool, this is expressing myself.
I should restrict my freedom in order to make other people happy.
If your freedom is violating other people's happiness and making them hurt emotionally and you're oppressing them more, then you should consider what I'm doing is like essential. Do I need it? Do I really have to do it?
If the majority of Black people are okay with dreads, then does that make it okay? Have you made like a survey of how many people among the Black people are approving of dreads?
Okay, I get your point. At the end, we just need to make a happier and better world.
I agree with
and
this.
if you go on with this attitude, you just do whatever shit you want in the name of freedom and your own happiness and your own greed, the world's gonna get messier. So everyone has to just take a step back and listen to everybody. It's not like sacrifice your freedom because the majority of people are wanting to do that. No, just lend an ear, reconsider their opinion. Maybe there's another option. That's what I'm all asking for.
Okay, my point was that you should lend an ear. They must have a reason to be frustrated. I do think their reasons to be frustrated are legit, but at the same time, I do think restricting somebody's freedom to wear whatever they want, look however they look, is not the way to solve their frustration.
I think we can go on for this forever. Okay. There are things such as social norms and social territories and boundaries you should consider even within freedom. Freedom cannot violate and trespass those terms.
Agree to disagree.
That's it.
Shit, that was a long debate.
So